Hello everybody, I wanted to quickly run you through how I'm setting up my Hobonichi Cousin Avec for 2019 as somebody who doesn't do any of the fancy stuff like fancy lettering or stickers or anything like that, or any fancy layouts. It's all very straightforward using the Hobonichi mostly as it was designed. So I just want to show you how that's all set up. And I will be using this for work and personal combined, so I'll explain that a little bit. Part of the way I'm going to be doing that is with the multi-pen that Hobonichi sent with the notebook. So when I make entries, the black color will be used for work-related items, the blue will be personal items, and the red will be for both, just anything that's like really important to remember or anything important I need to write down. So that's going to be really important for how this whole setup will work. I don't really carry a lot of stuff with anything. I don't carry a lot of stuff with my Hobonichi, so but I did need a cover for it just to protect it. So I got a Midori A5 clear cover from Jet Pens. It only cost like a few dollars. So it's really minimal, it just protects it and it doesn't add any bulk. So this is perfect for what I need for. Plus I just love the cover and I wanted to see it, so this is perfect. But if you wanted to, you can put in inserts, make your own covers and put them in here if you don't like the cover like I do. So going in, and I do just clip my pen here to the cover and it tends to stay pretty well, so I don't really need a pen loop. So to start, I didn't really have a good use for the yearly pages as they were intended to be used, so I'm choosing to use them as a tracker. This space at the bottom here, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to use it for yet, maybe just some notes where things didn't quite go as planned or something like that, but right now it's just sitting empty. Here are the things I'm planning to track this year. So it will be if I brought lunch that day, if I studied Spanish, if I cleaned up a little bit, if I brushed and flossed at night, if I went to bed before midnight, if I worked out, and then I also have a separate section here in red for things that I don't necessarily want to fill out. So things like if I spent money that day, if I drank anything other than water. So those two things, I don't really want to fill out in there in red. I'm also doing a period tracker in red just because it felt kind of weird to put it not in red, so that's why it's over here, not because it's a bad thing. For the following day, because I got the Avec version, I won't really need to be using these pages because I'll be switching to the next book for the following 6 months, so I blocked out the months here with washi tape, and I'll be filling it back in again with January, February, March, April, May, June, fixing the dates so that they actually correlate with the month, and then I'm going to be using this as like an index tracker, like an index from the bullet journal method, a little bit modified because I'm just going to write in, whatever date that was if there is something important that happened that I want to reference. In my line of work, there's often going to be things that I want to reference my notes on a particular person or, something related to my job, so I think it'll work well using a modified version of an index to just write in the date something I want to reference later. I just have these tabs here to mark where my monthly is, my weekly, and my daily, so it's easy to find. My monthlies, I've never been big on these types of calendar formats, so I expect that I won't really use these this much, except to write down maybe big events that are happening. I will use it for writing out things that I need to do anytime that month. So I've already started. So these are things that can happen anytime this month. But otherwise, I've never been big on these types of pages, so I don't think I'll be using it this much. For the weeklies, I'll be doing the same thing on the left side, writing down things I need to do that can happen anytime that week. But I'll be using this mostly how you would typically use it, just for scheduling purposes, writing down your schedule. And then at the bottom here, I did want to track my spending. So every day I'll write down what I spend money on and how much, and total it at the bottom. And, you know, I typically don't make plans after 10, so I picked just to draw a line there. And I'm tracking it this way daily because at the back, I am going to be tracking my finances as well, if I can find it. Let's see. Here we go. So I'll be tracking my finances as well back here on the graph paper. So I marked these out by the 6 months that this book covers, as well as amounts. And I have a lot of money in various places, you know, in the bank, investments, in retirement accounts. So I wanted an easy way to track at the end of the month the total amount across all those accounts. So that'll be easy just to track, you know, if things are growing, if things are falling, etc. And then I'm also tracking down here what the income was, what the spending was, which for that month, which I can reference back here in my weeklies, net income, and the percentage of growth for all investments. So I think that'll come in really handy. And that's how I'm using my weeklies. Pretty standard, I think. And then for the daily pages, let me talk about this. So there is this blank page, turning the page to a new year. I haven't really decided how I'm going to use this yet. I think I'm just going to leave it blank for now and might decide later on in the year how I'm going to use that. For this blank page that happens at the beginning of every month, I'm actually going to use this as an accomplishments tracker. So at the end of every month, I'll look through and see the big accomplishments, or like really, you know, things that I want to remember I did, especially for things like annual reviews or things like that, just so it's easy to find. So I'll go through and write here what the big accomplishments were. And I'll probably divide this by work and personal. So that'll be an easy way to track my progress for the year and accomplishments for the year. These pages, the daily pages, I'll be using pretty much as you'd expect. You know, to-do items here, schedule over here, and then I, you know, do use the bullet journal method a little bit. So I do have, you know, my personal key that I use, and it is like, you know, dot for to-do, dash for note, exclamation point for important, you know, things like that. So, and as I mentioned, I'll be using this for work and personal, so I don't tend to write a whole lot during the workday. It usually takes up maybe like this much to this much space. And then at the bottom, I'll use to write, do a little bit of personal journaling at the end of each day. And I don't write long journal entries. I usually do just, you know, a few sentences to a paragraph of just like interesting things that happened that day. So I think it'll be pretty easy to fit that all in one page. Let's see. Talked about this. This page is going to be my collections page. I've never been someone who keeps long lists of collections, so it's going to be pretty easy for me to keep things condensed here. So it's just going to be, you know, podcasts I want to listen to, TV shows I want to watch, restaurants I want to try out, things like that. And then things that maybe require a little bit more than just a couple words, like business ideas or things like that. Those, I have a system in an app on my phone that I use to do those things, but I might also just work backwards from these blank pages at the bottom and use that space for that. And oops, my gifts page I'm just going to be using as a to track the charitable giving that I do throughout the year. I do tend to do a lot of charitable gifts, so that'll be helpful. And that's about it. For the occasions that I do need to use a little bit of washi tape, I just have an old gift card wrapped in some of my favorite floral washi tapes. I got these off of Amazon, and these just live in the back of my cover, and they don't really fall out because the cover isn't, you know, opening and closing that much. So that's really all I carry with me, and the pen, but that is it. A very simple, straightforward way to use your Hobonichi for both work and personal without doing a lot of the fluffy stuff, because, you know, many of us don't really want to take the time to do all that stuff, or we're not that creative. So hopefully this helps you figure out how you want to use your Hobonichi, and I will link to some of these things, the washi tape and the cover, down below in the description. Thanks for watching.